For serious issues facing the nation, let me turn to what really is the top story of the day. Outrage over the racist attacks on African students spilled onto the streets of the national capital today. 2 days after 6 African nationals were beaten up by cricket bats and bricks in Delhi's Mehrauli area, the African student community protested against the growing racist violence. The centre has gone into damage control mode. The Prime Minister too, and the President too has intervened. African nationals though are demanding stern action.
The African community taking to the streets of the capital to protest against spate of racist attacks in Delhi. Accusing the Delhi police of apathy, African students demanding stringent action.
They don't have problem with India. Nobody, India have not fight Biafra. Biafra have not fight India. We are in peace. We are asking Nigerian government to allow us to go, to have our freedom from them.
Sometimes all these problems used to come based on the fact that some people you might meet are not the people that they are not well educated.
With racist violence rising unabated in the capital, the African envoys met officials of the Ministry of External Affairs to raise their concerns.
All these things have been done in India, and it's the Indian government will be responsible for that matter, not we. We have to wait them and see what will happen.
The delegation from the Congo and other African countries have just met the Secretary of the Ministry of External Affairs, and they said that they are well satisfied with what the kind of assurances that have been given by the Ministry of External Affairs.
With the racist violence denting India's image on international platform, Centre has stepped in, directing the police to increase patrolling in neighborhoods where African nationals reside.
जो घटनाएं हुए हैं वो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है और इस तरह से घटना नहीं होना चाहिए इस देश में। कार्रवाई हुआ है, अरेस्ट भी हुआ है और विदेश मंत्रालय की ओर से भी इसको निगरानी में चीज को देख रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, a taxi driver was allegedly being beaten up by African nationals in Delhi after the cabbie refused to take on board more than 4 passengers.
6 लोग थे जी, जिनमें 4 अफ्रीकी जेंट्स और 2 लेडीज थी जी इनमें। मैंने कही जी मैं तो मेरी गाड़ी में 4 अलाउड है, 6 अलाउड नहीं है, मैं 6 को नहीं ले जा सकता। तो इन्हें कही मेन रोड तक, मैंने मेन रोड पे ये बीकानेर सूच छतरपुर यहाँ तक मैं लिया इनको। यहाँ मैंने अपनी गाड़ी साइड में लगाई, साइड में लगाने के बाद एक उतरा मेरे यहाँ बेंच मारा।
With the spate of attacks unraveling capital's ugly racist face, will the defiant denial of it help to solve the problem of racist violence? Bureau Report, India Today.
And let me turn to the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup on what is the government of India going to do to the growing anger among African students. I spoke to him a short while ago and asked him this recent unfortunate incident of a Congolese student, Olivier, who was killed. What would you agree this has done an irreparable harm to India's reputation and all these instances that have come up in the last week, particularly in the African continent?
That it has caused damage. I would not use the word irreparable. We are in very close touch with the African community here, both the diplomatic community as well as the student community. We have reached out proactively to them to ensure that the safety and security of African students remains our paramount concern and no such incidents recur in the future. So I would say that yes, it of course has caused a certain amount of harm to our relationship, historically close relationship with Africa, but we have also done our best to mend the rupture and ensure that Africans continue to feel welcome and secure in our country.
You know, you're sounding very conciliatory and you're making the right noises. You're talking about an active outreach program, but at the same time, your junior minister, General V.K. Singh in the ministry, has called these incidents a minor scuffle. He shifted the blame on the media. Is that not being insensitive towards the African community, Mr. Swarup?
Look, I'm not going to get into wordplay, Rajdeep. The fact of the matter is, entire government of India has condemned these incidents, and the entire government of India is committed to ensuring the safety and security of our African brothers and sisters. On that, there can be no doubt. You would have seen the kind of steps that we have taken, the way the police has proactively, ensured investigation. Arrests have already been made, and we are committed to maintaining this and ensuring that such acts do not recur in the future.
In a sense, Mr. Swarup, the government of India seems to be distancing itself from General Singh's comment.
No, I'm not going to get into that, Rajdeep. The important thing is what is the action we are taking on the ground. If you look at the case involving Mr. Olivier, immediately the police has apprehended 2 people, 1 suspect is on the run. And also I want to make it clear that every incident should not be seen from a racial lens. After all, this was not a premeditated act of violence. What happened was there was an altercation involving an auto rickshaw hiring, and then basically 3 individuals attacked Mr. Olivier. One of them was a known history sheeter. So you cannot say that this was an institutional or a premeditated act of violence against a certain section of society.
I take your point, but remember, Mr. Swarup, in February, a Tanzanian girl in Bangalore was attacked. And if you remember, the MEA then had also promised regular interaction with African students. Has that happened? Or does it take an instance like this for the MEA to react?
Well, you know the action that was taken after the Bangalore incident. Immediately the police arrested a number of people, 4 constables, 1 inspector, 1 ACP was suspended, and we stepped up police patrolling in areas where African community resides. And after that, you would also acknowledge, no such incident has been reported from Bengaluru.
Can we ignore, though, the fact, sir, given the number of incidents that have taken place, that there is an element of racism in our society? You've served in the African continent as well. That there is in our society a tendency to look at Africans as in some way the other, and an element of racism there.
No, we are not ignoring anything, Rajdeep. We are not brushing anything under the carpet. The fact of the matter is anti-social elements exist in every country, in every society. And they will target whoever they are able to target. The important thing is, institutionally, do we take action against such elements? Does the police machinery swing into action and ensure justice for the people who have been affected? There, I think you will not find us wanting. Even in the instant case of Mr. Olivier, as I already told you, 2 people have already been arrested. Now his family members have arrived today from Kinshasa. We are paying for their accommodation. We are paying for their airfare. We will ensure that the mortal remains go back, and of course we'll be paying for that as well. External Affairs Minister is personally monitoring the case. She has spoken to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. She has spoken to the Home Minister. The Lieutenant Governor has promised that this case will be treated on a fast-track basis. The Home Minister has already instructed Delhi Police to step up patrolling in areas where the African community resides. So you will see that we have been very, very quick to act on this particular case and to ensure that this does not happen in the future. And perhaps these cases do suggest that there is a need to put in place an institutional mechanism, and you will see that happening also.
Mr. Vikas Swarup, appreciate your joining us and giving us the government's perspective on this controversial, sensitive issue. I can tell you, how do the students react? They've heard what the MEA spokesperson has said. Do they accept the words of an outreach that have been given there by the MEA spokesperson? Joining me now from Bangalore, Bosco Kawesi, the legal counsel for the African students there. Also in the studio, Mobole Jonathan. He's a student and member of the Association of African Students, and he is from Nigeria. I appreciate your joining us, but I want to come to you first there, Bosco. You heard what was said by the MEA spokesperson. He's saying there's a genuine outreach. And he's also saying, please don't treat every attack as a racist attack. How do you respond, Bosco?
Well, first of all, I would say that attacks must be distinguished, because in attacks which involves in losing human lives, we must treat them with a very serious eye, and with a very, very, very serious, and looking at the intention and the motive behind it. If a person comes and slaps you, that is another story. But if a person stones me up to death, that is something which is so cruel and rude. So what I would like to say is, I can criticize, I can say many things, but we look at what we call constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Today the government might say that such incidents has not happened in Bangalore, but it's just because that the Bangalore police not only patrolled the area, but they have come up with a method, a system of their own, where they take even the local people into confidence to try and root out this kind of elements.
Right.
I can tell you that we are all involved in the struggle.
But do you accept that every attack? Do you accept that every attack is not a racist attack, as the MEA spokesperson pointed out, that we've got to make a distinction between criminality and racism?
No, we cannot say that, because in a society you will find people who may practice racism and discrimination, others may not practice. And the reason why we need really to point out and come up with a conclusion is that once we discover that we are sick, then we can get the right medicine to heal the wounds, the right medicine to see that such incidents do not happen again. And that is why Bangalore has taken it, have accepted such incidences, and they have come down.
Right.
And a section of police officers, they have really taken it to heart, and they have opened up their offices and their hands, and they call Africans brothers. And not only that, they have gone even to educate the localites.
So you're
not only educating the localites, they have even taken into other departments into confidence.
I take your point.
Educate
Bosco,
them
I take your point. I take your point. You're saying that Bangalore is setting a healthy example. Let me go to the Association of African Students. Sambo Davis Tekina is a businessman who lives in Mumbai. He's married to an Indian. Sambo, have you seen in all the years that you've been here any signs of overt discrimination? Are we overreacting as the government at times seems to suggest here? The minister called it a minor incident.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, regarding to the question you're asking, I want to say that the situation there in Mumbai is pretty very tense, because we that are in Mumbai, we face racial discrimination almost every day of our life here. You understand? A couple of times I have been attacked by the locals. I have been rejected from an apartment. Trying to get an apartment.
You were thrown out of you were rejected from an apartment in Mumbai? You were rejected from an apartment in Mumbai because you were an African? Even though you're married to an Indian?
I'm a foreigner, I'm a black man. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very serious.
Yeah.
You're telling me something which is very, very troubling there, Sambo. I want to come for a moment to Mobaled Jonathan. Yes, because Mobaled, there is one. Today I've just got a statement from the tourism minister, from one of the ministers in Goa has issued a statement that Nigerians are trouble wherever they go, whether it's in Goa or whether it's across India. What would you like to tell the minister, Mr. Parulekar, from the Goa government, who's used this statement that Nigerians are trouble wherever they go? He says a number of them are involved in drugs and this problem is spreading across the country.
Well, you see, I don't like politicizing issues.
Yes.
You see, the government are just trying to cover things up here. Let's call a spear, and let's face what is there. If they say Nigeria are involved in drugs, where are they getting the drugs from? Are they importing it from Nigeria, or are they bringing it from Nigeria? The main drug dealers are not being tackled.
Is there a problem though? Is there a problem in places like Goa?
I wouldn't say there are problems in places like Goa. There are problems everywhere in India.
Are you facing discrimination of the kind that Sambo has said that you will not get a house also?
Very well.
You are also not getting a, you found it difficult to get a house?
Very well. I can give you places. Go to Yauna Express. Anytime you are ready, I can go with you. We set the cameras and I will go and approach them for accommodation, and you hear it with your ear.
What do they say?
Yes. No accommodation. Blacks, no accommodation. Yauna Express, I have younger ones. I have students that want to school in NIU. I've gone to Yauna Express to seek for accommodation for them.
They say no. No accommodation,
for blacks. Yes.
You think there is a stereotyping going on? You think ministers like this who are saying that all Nigerians are trouble are part of the problem?
Yes, they are part of the problem, because when they are passing this kind of message and they are listening to it, they say, yes, okay, this kind of people, we can't give them accommodation. And it's not true.
You know, these are very, very troubling times. I want to get a final word from you, Bosco, there in Bangalore. What would you then like to tell the government of India today? What would you like to tell a General V.K. Singh who called it a minor incident? What would you like to tell those who say we cannot give accommodation to black Africans? What would you like to tell them? Your final word, Bosco, keep it short.
I would like to say that, that is those who say they don't want to give accommodation to the black people, they may say it ignorantly, because they might think that India is not benefiting from Africa, and any black man, he may be a criminal, may be carrying drugs, may be involved in any other activities. And I would say this is a stereotype feeling which has been going around. When one black man makes a mistake, they blame all of them. So these landlords may have been, have some kind of feelings which is generalized. But what we do in Bangalore, the police, including us, we educate landlords.
So
We
you're
educate
saying the real
landlords, even
answer
in
is, I
Bangalore.
take your point. I think the real answer is to educate people. It's time we woke up to this deep-seated racism that exists in Indian society. Wake up and smell the coffee. And ministers like Mr. Parulekar in Goa, who claim that Nigerians are trouble across the country, I think that's an extremely unfortunate, regressive statement to have made. Separate those who are involved in criminal activity, but do not tarnish the reputation of an entire community. That's all one can say on this program. I appreciate all of you joining us, telling us your story, and I hope these instances do not recur. I hope that the outreach works in the truest sense.